Super T Sigma with Sigma programming. Let's talk about these vampires again. Because there's still an ongoing energy war between those who have energy and those who want energy. See, there's always somebody who wants what you have. And particularly that jealousy comes from an inbred fear, an internal fear that the person holds with their self-image, and they'll project it right onto you because they feel inadequate. They want you to feel inadequate. And at first, at second, and at third, you know what I mean? They will, be very aggressive initially. And like I said, even after that, it may be habitual to the point where you have to separate yourself from them. But at the end of the day, it's something that's missing in them that they see in you, and they're trying to get it in an artificial way. Because the truth is, all the love and wisdom and insight and magnetism, all of this is available for them. But it has to be an inside job. A person that's combative is not going to befriend a person who is a peacemaker. Those two energies don't match. So naturally, the combative one is going to want to raise the energy level of the peaceful person. And it's not really raising the energy as much as this intensity being a lower vibration. So just because it's a higher energy doesn't mean it's a higher vibration. It's just more active madness. And so as time goes on, and as they become more based in their routine and trapped in their own habit and imprisoned by their own perspective, they'll start eventually lashing out against everything, because usually it's something inside. And when it's something inside that you don't know, you can't identify it, you'll start lashing out against everything. It's like having a stone in your shoe. It's just a little pebble, but it'll mess up your whole walk. And you can't even, at some point, you can't even go on. You got to stop and take that shoe off and dump that stone out. See, what these people do that are super duper combative like this and hyper aggressive and hypercritical. Yes, hypocrisy comes from being hypercritical, not making a critique, not being exceptionally observant, but hypercritical. Only looking for the mistakes, only pointing out the wrong, only pointing out the conflict, because they're confrontational. They like confrontation. Even if they agree ethically that it's wrong to be a confrontational individual, one who starts fights, a bully, even though they believe this is wrong, the chemical addiction to being a bully is still there. So that's what makes spiritual addictions so dangerous in a way that like hard drugs are. You know, hard drugs, of course, destroys the body and the psyche. But likewise, spiritual addictions, let's say, you grew up and you had to fight all the time. You had to fight left and right. Well, if you can't let the conflict go, and then eventually you're a combative person, always fighting people, even when you get older, who is the problem going to be with? Eventually, the common denominator is going to be you. You're going to be looked at as the one who fights all the time. You're going to be the one at the end of the day with less than 5 people who really mess with you. You'll be that one. And then this, if you're stubborn and unpracticed enough, this is only going to cause you to double down and think that something is wrong with the world. when it's really you putting bad energy out there and getting bad energy back. And you thinking that you can raise your vibration by lowering another person's vibration, and this is not so. It's not how it works. Even if you succeed in bringing a good person's vibration down, that's still not gonna raise your vibration up. Even if you feel positive about it, it's still gonna be negative vibration. In the universe, there is a such thing called justice. It's not like the court system form of justice, but it's just this karma, and there's always, a part in your life where you're constantly getting a mirror back to you. You're constantly getting your own reflection back to you. And I think sometimes where the disconnect is folks make preferences and prejudices based on their stance and based on their position. And to some extent, I guess we all do this. It's probably necessary in the defining of life in any case. But to do this abusively will show itself in the dynamics in your relationship to others. If you only got one friend and you're not socially awkward, something's up with you. Now, don't be jealous of the person who people can't stop being around, especially if it's the other people who are magnetized toward the individual. Whereas you might want to be just as magnetic, but you're always trying to enforce yourself and impose yourself and encroach yourself and interrupt the scenario with your presence. When you're coming from the vampiric side of trying to siphon someone's energy, it becomes even more desperate than the horror films that portray the vampires. They're only trying to bite necks. But vampires in the real world, they're trying to bite not just your neck being your voice. They want to bite your voice. They want to bite your style. Not learn from it, not build off of it, not see similarities in it. No, they want to steal the whole thing. It's straight up envy. They want to be you. They want to be you. What Trevor Jackson said in the Superfly remake, they want to be us. They want to be us. Everybody want to be Superfly. They want to be us. So they want to be you. This is really why they hate you so much. This is really why they dislike you so much. They dislike what's really the object of their affection, and it disappoints them to find that in the average Joe, an average regular person. They feel like the only object of their desire should be superstars or someone who's unattainable, unreachable. They don't expect the person who represents everything they want to be working at the gas station, but that person could very well be there as the clerk, and you end up hating on the clerk because the clerk got tapped into something in themselves that you're afraid to tap into yourself. And here you go on the outskirts with a low vibration trying to bring everybody down, which is already indicative of you having a lower vibration than other people. So you're already coming in on the bottom position, being a hill grabber and a trickster rather than Israel. You're trying to grab the hill rather than wrestle with the God. And so your pineal is never open because you're trying to subdue an angel rather than hang on to an angel. No, you got to hang on to the mere spirits that are sent for those that are going to inherit salvation, the ability to salvage, the ability to reconcile and pull things together and put things together and piece things together and work things out together. This is not just given to you on the house. No, you have to cultivate some compassion. You have to cultivate some magnanimity, equanimity. You have to be able to utilize being considerate, really making it about the other person as much as it is about yourself. If you can do this, if you decide to do this, not if you can, but if you decide to do this, you're going to start seeing life swing the other way, and you're going to find out that all of the vampires that are coming with their negative energy, they're just going to spin out and starve out because they don't have anybody to trade confrontational energy with. They don't have anybody to trade bad vibes with. So you're going to see them just wasting away in their conflict, wasting away in their negativity right in front of you, just wasting away, getting more and more unreasonable. First, the deterioration of the mind, then the deterioration of the body, and finally the deterioration of the spirit, and then the releasing of the soul. This is usually how it happens. On the surface, we just see a person getting bitter, but there's so much more going on in that root of bitterness where those roots are. They're very deep. You see a poisonous plant, but the roots that allowed that plant to spring up, those roots dig all throughout childhood, all throughout college years. It could have dug through the first, second, and third marriage, etc. And a person brings all of this with them when they're over confrontational because they're not handling the initial part of the conflict, which is how do you handle yourself in the position and after the position and dealing with the aftermath. Whatever's going on with the person is between them and their maker. But on your side of it is likewise. Whether you're right or wrong, you still have to deal with your maker, whether you're right or wrong. And if you skip that process 100 times in a row, you're going to be a person can't even tell them nothing. You'll be in that category. Yeah, they can't even tell you nothing. It'll be like that because you will not have had enough practice listening to yourself and following your own instructions. And we call this self-discipline. If you don't have that, how are you going to be disciplined from the outside? So just watch out for these vampires because they're getting desperate now, like desperate. You're going to see, spiritually speaking, it's like vampires just walking around. They bite in the sidewalk. They bite in the curb. They bite in the bus stop. They bite in the mailbox. You know what I mean? They bite in the lawn because it ain't no more people offering their energy no more. Everybody's, moving on. People who you didn't think was going to find love, found love. People that you didn't think were going to find a career, found a career. People you didn't think was going to end up with a family, ended up with a family. And you're standing from the outside just as mad today as you were 20 years ago, hoping that the person wouldn't make it because you were on top and you hated the fact that people were even going to eventually move on and move ahead in life. But what you're really being angry at is life and time, because life and time causes change, and change is constant. If you're hating on the change, you're hating on what's constant. And if you're hating on something that's constant, that's proof that you are temporary. And if you're temporary, eventually you will be deleted. Super T Sigma, Sigma programming. Stay wise.